You're listening to the At Your Request Show with Nick Collings. This is Up FM 107.5.
Welcome back to Up FM. You are listening to the At Your Request Show with myself, Nick Collings. And right about now, it is time for a little bit of Total Science. Paul, are you on the line?
Yes, I am indeed, Nick.
Excellent. I've got a big old intro to let the listeners know all about you guys there.
Okay.
Now, without doubt, Total Science have etched their name into UK drum and bass royalty with releases and remixes such as Squash, Nosher, which we're playing in the background at the moment, and the immortal remix of Champion's Sound, dominating sound systems the world over. Now, they've been in the game for over 15 years. First with the love of the old school hardcore sound evolving through jungle drum and bass, and in 1997 setting up their own outlet for music, C.I.A. Total Science returned to Auckland for a bass rumbling night of drum and bass at Fubar tonight. Paul, an absolute honour to have you here on Up FM.
Oh, thank you.
First up, how did the Total Science production duo come about? How did you and Jason meet?
We met on a local estate where I lived when I was about 15 years old, and we were both into hip-hop, and we just got talking in the shop once. He'd already had some, he actually dabbled into sort of a bit of equipment, like an old school drum machine and a few bits like that, and I just wanted to DJ. And then we kind of started, there was a guy called Invisible Man back in the early 90s who had a studio that we both used together with another guy called Gwanji. And then the guy called Gwanji disappeared, and me and Quiff formed a name Funky Technicians first, and then as we developed our sound and got a bit harder and a bit tougher, we changed it to Total Science, which was in 96, I believe, or something.
So when did you first when did the first Total Science 12-inch or release or anything first come out?
I'm taking a guess here, but I would have thought it was I'm sure it was 96.
And have you always just been kind of hooked on the drum and bass thing, or have you been, working through a lot of other stuff? You mentioned hip-hop and stuff as being...
hip-hop was my first love of music, that drew me in at an early age into sort of music in general. And I got into the early house kind of... it was like hardcore at the time, so it was like... the bleeps and the sort of acid, like going from the acid house days to the sort of more where early jungle started. So, but I've always had a love for drum and bass, and it's just in my blood. I just can't get rid of it.
Can't quite shake it just yet.
No, I don't want to either, to be fair, but no.
Excellent. Now, for people that may not have experienced the Total Science magic, how do you describe your Total Science sound in 2010?
Well, in 2010, it's kind of more of a... we've gone back to our early sound, like the 2000, 2002, which personally I think was our best years, and we've kind of gone back to go forward kind of thing, but kind of updated it a little bit, and so it's kind of jungly again, but yeah, as Total Science, as artists, as DJs, it's quite I like a bit of everything, it's quite a bit of jungle, but quite across the board.
Now, your own label is C.I.A.
Yeah.
Now, it's been ticking along. Was that right? 1997? Is that
yes, that's correct.
When the first one came out. Now, you've been signing up artists such as Marky and Bungle, and also on a very Kiwi-based note, State of Mind Sun King also came out on C.I.A. Now, for us down here, that is that puts State of Mind on the map. Now, what do you look for when you're signing people up to the label?
Well, obviously, kind of our tastes sort of change and the scene changes all the time, but we're just looking out for we're just artists that are making tunes that are kind of relevant to what we like and what we think will represent C.I.A. at that moment in time. So it can be any kind of style, to be fair. Because our music tastes are quite so varied, that you will find that C.I.A. has been quite different over the years. But we're just looking for something that's kind of fresh, really.
And in your opinion, what's been the most pinnacle moment for C.I.A.? What was maybe the one release or the series of releases or the time period that really, for you were like, oh wow, the C.I.A. thing's doing really well?
It's got to be like from our first album to be honest with you. The 2000 to 2002 period
was that advanced?
That was advanced,
yep.
Yeah. But then we done the What's My Code remix, and that done really, really well. And to be honest with you, the releases then, it was kind of shocking to see how well it did. If you know what I mean, like, I don't know, you just don't expect your own things to do so well. But that was a good time.
What do you think it was that set the Total Science sound for that particular time, that kind of really just pushed you forward, that was maybe a little bit different compared to everybody else? We
just sat back in the studio and we went through all of our old jungle tunes, because obviously that was what we loved, you know, in the early days, and we drew a lot of, like, you know, samples and ideas off of the old things and kind of updated it, and it was different to what everyone else was doing, because you had your Ed Rush and Oldskool doing the kind of, you know, the dark techie, I mean, wicked music, but we don't want to just go and do what somebody's already done, so we just, you know, went in and listened to some, which is probably a contradiction myself, because I've gone back and said I've used some samples, but you know what I mean, like at the time we just wanted to do something that was different to what else was going on, and I think it worked.
It definitely did. Now, speaking of working, Total Science, if that hadn't have happened for you, what do you think you would be doing these days?
Well, I would probably be on a building site or a stripper. I don't know.
A builder or a stripper?
Yeah, all right.
Two varying professions there. Are you trained in stripping?
No, but I've recently been doing it when I've been getting drunk. So yeah.
Is that part of the Total Science experience as such?
Well, yeah, you know, I think you've got to entertain. So, you know, I might ruin a people's night by doing it, but that's the way it goes.
Now, for you, speaking back about the music, who is the most dynamic, exciting person in dance music for you right now?
Well, I mean, I'm into all sorts of stuff, but I'm really, like, in drum and bass or just dance music.
Just in general, it could be drum and bass, it could be someone that you're really feeling.
Floating Point, just making some really wicked music. In drum and bass, Spy has been amazing this last sort of year. He's kind of just took the bull by the horns and just gone like AWOL with release after release of just quality. Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, there's lots. I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head.
Well, that's a good. Spy was out here last year, and I had the pleasure of seeing him here, and he absolutely smashed it. Yeah. He's got his own little take, and it's very, I guess, futuristic, I think is.
Well, he's got his own sound, but I find it still it's still got a kind of an old feel about it, but very updated. You know, it just, I don't know, it works anyway, whatever he's doing.
Now, if you could only listen to one Total Science tune for the rest of eternity, what Total Science tune would it be?
That's a hard one. I've listened to them so many times making them that I hated most of them by the end of it. But probably, I'd say the NHS remix that we did.
Yep, definitely. Now, what is the most requested when you're obviously out touring the world over? What's the most requested Total Science tune? You know, someone will rock up and do the old, you know, tap tap. Hey, bro, can you play?
Well, it's either Champion Sound or Squash.
Yep. Do you ever get sick of playing them? I know you've heard them 1,001 times.
No, I don't actually. You know, it's kind of, I don't play them all the time, so I'll just play them once in a blue moon, and that way it's not like overkill.
It doesn't get too bad for you, as such.
If I was playing every set, I think it would be a different kettle of fish.
You could be right. And finally, you're playing at Fubar tonight.
Yes.
Now, if you could sum it up in one word, what the people can expect tonight, what would be that one word?
In one word?
Pretty much one word.
Okay, magic.
Magic, absolute magic.
Yeah.
There you have it. From Mr. Paul Smith, one part of Total Science. Thank you very much for taking the time out to have a bit of a chat with us here on RPFM.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, not a problem, mate. And we look forward to you guys absolutely smashing it tonight at Foo.
Me too. Should be fun.
Excellent. Thanks for talking to us, Paul.
Okay, mate.
Enjoy.
Bye.
See ya. There you have it. That was Paul Smith, one part of Total Science. Total Science are playing tonight, Friday the 18th of June, at Foo Bar, 4 Wolf Street. $25 tickets are available from Real Groovy, Beat Merchants, or iticketexpress.co.nz. If you want to find out more about Total Science, www.myspace.com/Total Science. flying all the way from the UK to rock it for you guys tonight. That was Total Science. I'll be back in a bit. But here is one of the newer Total Science tracks. This is called Red Lines, here on Up FM.
These distances I have to go, 'cause your illusion just goes on and on. You red lines I cross as I move through you, just to know you believe in me. Break down the bonds with clouds to eyes. I bring consequence, I don't know who you are, 'cause everything you said I never see. I want to know you believe in me. Red lines,
Alright, I've got a single pass to Total Science to give away. Subtronics flying Total Science in. They are playing tonight at Foo, 4 Wolf Street in the Auckland CBD. With support Merge, Tokyo Pros and Cosign. If you want to win this single pass, well hopefully you were listening out. Name Total Science's record label. He mentioned it a couple of times and I mentioned it too. If you can name the record label that Total Science own, text it in 8736 with your name and a single pass to Total Science could be yours.
'Cause your illusion does